the kitchen. Run a little bit of a weird energy today. I've got a couple ingredients in the fridge I'm trying to use up. Then namely this pumpkin that I opened up yesterday for something. I only used like a 1/4 cup of it and now it's just sitting there, and I know it'll just sit there forever until it starts molding unless I use it. I also have to refeed my sourdough. Woo! She is ripe for a feed. So I gotta refeed it, which means I've got to have like 200 or so grams of, no, I'm gonna have way more than that actually. I'm gonna have a bunch of discard already to add to the discard that I already have going on. So we want to do something with these two ingredients. I recently saw on Make It Dairy Free, they made a cinnamon bread, like a cinnamon strudel bread. So now I'm really craving that. So we're gonna make something happen. I'm referencing a couple different recipes. I've got the Make It Dairy Free cinnamon quick bread pulled up. I also have food.com's sourdough coffee cake pulled up, not vegan. I also have King Arthur's pumpkin streusel coffee cake pulled up. When you use sourdough, typically sourdough can replace equivalent equal parts liquid, equal parts flour. So if I put 100 grams of sourdough starter in, that will subtract from the overall water content of the recipe 50 grams and the overall flour content of the recipe 50 grams, because it's mine's at 100% hydration. So I'm thinking that shouldn't be too difficult to swap out. So I'll just put however much I need in and then subtract that from the overall liquid and flour. Also, do you hear my neighbors? They're small children, so that shouldn't be too difficult. I am a little bit worried at how much of this pumpkin I can sneak in without it being like wet. Oh, and also I don't have a loaf pan. I'm working with this maybe, or those big ass Texas muffins tins maybe. So we're batting zero here. I pulled out some ingredients I think we're gonna need, like all-purpose flour, sugar. Also don't have a lot of sugar, so I'm bringing my brown sugar out. I went ahead and made a flax egg. If you don't know what a flax egg is, it is a tablespoon of flaxseed meal mixed with 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. People say 2, people say 3. I go with 2.5 because Switzerland, neutral. I got some almond milk out. I also don't have any vanilla with me, so I'm using vanilla almond milk. God, this is really getting worse and worse. I have baking powder out, baking soda, and some salt. So I think what I'm gonna do first, sorry, quick change. Just couldn't take that sweatshirt anymore. I think what I'm gonna do first is refeed my sourdough. So here's my sourdough starter. I put him in the fridge recently because just couldn't keep up with it enough, so I needed him to start growing slower. All I do is I have a container of sourdough that I keep in my sourdough discard I keep in my fridge. I pretty much empty what I have in my starter jar until there's only like a scrape or 2 of sourdough left. Like pretty much empty in there. And all I'm gonna do now is feed it 1-to-1 flour and water. I typically do 200 and 200 grams, obviously. So here we go, in our sourdough starter jar. She's happy, she's lovely. And then I typically, like I said, keep it in my fridge. At least that's what I've been doing recently. I don't typically, but I don't have a good equipment to make breads right now. So I don't want it to die, and I don't want it to grow so fast that I can't keep up with the discard. So anyway, that's essentially that. It's pretty simple. And then this guy gets lightly closed like that, and then put back in the fridge. Don't mind that. Okay. All right, so here we go. I think what we're gonna do, we are gonna start by figuring out how much puree we actually have. So we've got and a third-ish, a cup and a third, which equates to 340 grams. See, we're already using more than the pumpkin coffee cake calls for. A cup of sourdough starter, which in my case will equate to, what are we doing? So it equates to 250 grams-ish? Yep, we're at about 250 grams of sourdough starter, which really means 125 grams of liquid and 125 grams of flour. So if we're thinking about it in those terms, we're also going to add in 1 flax egg because I have it ready. So why not? I don't think I'm adding oil. I don't know, it just feels like a bad move. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my flour, my sugar in here too. That's not sugar, that's salt. Do 1/4 cup of cane sugar, 60 grams of cane sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So 60 grams of brown sugar, 60 grams of white sugar, to mixy from that. So here's what we got. It smells like ripe pumpkin. Delish. I'm running out of cups. And then I'm gonna go with a cup of flour. Let's try it. Which equates to, that's not even at all. Y'all, really, who do be measuring flour like this? Which equates to, actually I'm gonna go with 1.5 cups. I feel like that's a better idea. Let's go with 1.5 cups of flour. So around 200 grams of flour. That doesn't feel like 1.5 cups. So the quick bread uses a tablespoon of baking powder. The coffee cake uses a teaspoon of baking soda. King Arthur uses a teaspoon of baking powder. This random coffee cake recipe I pulled up uses both. So, a teaspoon and a teaspoon and a half baking powder. This is gonna be rough. And a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt, because you gotta have salt. The whiskey for the bisky. All right, so this is what our flour situation is looking like. It doesn't look like much in there, but this is our liquid situation. Our liquid situation is pretty thick. Oh, at this point I should probably turn the oven on. Let's get the oven on to 350, because that feels like a baking temperature, you know? So let's go ahead and mix these guys together and just see what we come up with. We're folding. I feel like it's gonna taste like pumpkin. You know what? Maybe we should put cinnamon in it at this point. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We're gonna go for it. Ooh, the cinnamon inside definitely makes it seem much more like I know what I'm doing. Wet bread dough. So I'm not gonna overmix it. Learned enough to not do that. I'm just gonna dunk it, okay guys? 1/4 cup of flour, 36 grams. 1/8 cup of brown sugar, 25 grams, which is not equivalent to what it was last time. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of white sugar, which is a little streusel-y topping thing. I'm kind of feeling that on the middle, it shouldn't be so like streusel-y. You know what we're gonna do? Just a hunch that floury toppings should go on top. They shouldn't really go in the middle, because I feel like that'll be weird. I feel like if it's in the middle, it should have like butter in it or something, like you would a cinnamon roll. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 3-ish teaspoons, so like 3-ish teaspoons of butter. I'm gonna cut that into our sort of streusel-y layer a bit. Our mostly cleaned, only available baking dish. We're gonna smear some butter on it. Because our oven is already on, you can just pop it in there and let it like melt and then spread it around via the tilting method, but I don't really care. Like half of our, ooh, I feel like this is gonna be really not the right vessel for this. And then we're gonna take our streusel-y bit. I'm just gonna put it in. The other half, put it on top. I'm gonna top it with the rest of the streusel. We're gonna take our fork. We're gonna go down. We're gonna swirl this. I don't know. Ah, perfect timing. This is going in the oven. I'm gonna clean up and we will see you in 20 minutes. Okay, I just finished a mad hit workout. But the timer for 20 minutes went off right as I finished. So let's take a look. All right, cute. Okay, upon further inspection, oh, sweat. Upon further inspection, it was not done. So I spun her 180 and put the timer on for another 15 minutes. Oh, I should hit start. So it's on for 15 more minutes. So I'm gonna do 15 more minutes of a workout. Bye. Okay, y'all, it has been a journey. Here's the final product. I'm so impressed. Is this what I should be doing for a living, is making recipes? Yes. I'm so impressed with myself. It's so good. Thank you for watching my chaotic video. And if you enjoyed it, let me know. And if you make this recipe, let me know. Thank you. Bye.